Hi everyone, my name is Bailey, and in today's video I am renovating the first house that I ever created in The Sims 4 for my 1000 subscribers special. After a look at the house that I built around 2 years ago when I first got the game, I will be doing a little Q&A while you watch me renovate the home, and I'm really happy with how the renovation turned out, so I hope that you guys like it too. But before we get to that, I just want to thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. I honestly can't even believe that I'm saying that. It is such a dream come true for me. I remember being 8 years old and watching YouTube for the first time. Maybe some of you know of the YouTuber IHasCupquake. I loved her so much and I wanted to be just like her. I'm finally doing it. I have a habit of not starting hobbies because I know that I won't automatically be really good at them, which is a very bad habit to have, but it is something that I struggle with. So this journey has been super fun for me, and just building relationships with you guys has been the best feeling ever, so thank you all so much. Anyway, without further ado, let's look at this absolute monstrosity. I'm pretty embarrassed. It's not the worst first build. I think it could have been a million times worse. I did put some effort into it. I actually remember when I built it, but it's still really embarrassing. Okay, here it goes. I originally built it in Oasis Springs, by the way, so you're gonna see some like desert looking plants, but I put it on this lot because I wanted to renovate it on this lot. So, okay, here it is. It's really tiny. I only had, I think, City Living and base game when I built this, so it's pretty much only base game. Little basketball court here. Again, that terrain paint, wow. You can tell that I'm just an artiste. So we have an open concept house. What is this? I like how I made like a little TV area with the counter. I don't like how asymmetrical it is, but I think that's kind of creative. It's okay, I guess. I don't know why I chose to use the worst countertops in the entire game. This is really boring, and then the hallway is also very boring, and the bathroom, at least it's pretty bright, but still, it's like the bare minimum. I still struggle with my bathroom, so I can't really blame myself there. And then we move on to the best room in the house, which is the bedroom. It's okay, but I do think that I did a way better job on the renovation, which you would hope because I have been building for about 2 years at this point. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the renovation. Okay, so right now we are renovating the home. Before I get into the Q&A, I do want to discuss the home just a little bit because it's one of my favorite builds that I've ever done. I don't know if that's because of nostalgia or just because I really like the style that I went for, but I really love how it turned out and I hope you guys like it as well. It's actually inspired by someone in my family that I've only met a few times, but she's this little old lady and she lives on a huge property in the middle of the country, and she had horses and goats and things like that, and she also had a giant lake on her property. She still lives there. She still has this whole property to herself, but there was this massive lake, and I remember being a kid and trying to understand what was on the other side, and to this day I do not know what is on the other side of the lake, if there are other people's houses there or what. But anyway, she also had a bunch of barns on her property, and inside of them was just random vintage stuff. So I was really inspired by her personality and how she has various different trinkets. I think a lot of older people tend to collect things, so I was really inspired by that. Anyway, I'm gonna let the build speak for itself. I hope that you enjoy the out there landscaping. I know it's not for everybody, but it is really my style. I really like what I did with the mushrooms and the pink flowers. You'll see, I think it's really cute. But let's get into the Q&A. I plan to get to everyone's questions, although I'm terrible at estimating time, so I think this video will be the perfect amount of time for me to get to everybody's questions. I don't exactly know. I'll have to see what I can do with editing, but let's start out with the first question. So shout out to Nunu because they actually commented asking for a Q&A, and I thought that it would be really fun. I was kind of thinking of doing one myself, so shout out to you. I really appreciate it. Their first question is, how old are you? And I am 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school. And then they asked, what is your favorite pack of all time? So I actually have 2 answers for this. It's a little bit weird. So I have only played The Sims 4, so my true and like valid answer would be City Living. I think that City Living is an amazing pack. I just love going to festivals and renovating apartments. I actually have an apartment renovation coming up on the channel soon, so that's my true answer. But if I did own The Sims 3, I think I would say Ambition's kind of an odd choice, but I remember the first ever Sims Let's Play that I watched was for The Sims 3 Ambitions, and it just seems like a really detailed pack and right up my alley. So I haven't played it yet, so technically that can't be my answer, but I do really think that Ambitions is a super good pack. Maybe I'm wrong, I'll have to get back to you when I actually get to play it, but that won't be for a long time because I think The Sims 3 would kill my laptop, so I'm not going to be trying The Sims 3 anytime soon. But Nunu's next question is, and I really hope that I'm pronouncing your name right, but they asked, do you have any pets? And I actually have 3 cats. So I have one cat that is a Siamese, and he is very old and he has a lot of problems. Like, he's very destructive and also loud. If you do know anything about Siamese cats, you know that they just talk all of the time. And then I have a gray tabby, I think he's about 6 years old or something. And then I have a Siamese kitten who I absolutely adore. I actually just finished playing fetch with him. He loves to play fetch. I've never seen a cat actually play fetch before. I don't know if that's very common, but yeah, I'm definitely a cat person. I would like a dog eventually, but I've never had one before. Hopefully in the future though. And then Nunu's next question is, do you play any games outside of The Sims? So this is a bit of a boring answer, but I really don't. I mean, I do play some Minecraft and I do play some PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, with my friends. But other than that, I don't really play any games. I mostly watch people play games, which I think a lot of people do. I just prefer to watch Let's Plays than actually play games on my own. So that's my answer. I also had an Among Us phase like 2 months ago where I just play Among Us on my phone for hours. But other than that, I don't really play too many games. Sometimes I'll play games on my phone, but I'm kind of a boring person and my laptop doesn't have that much storage, so I just play a couple of games. I love The Sims. I can't really see myself getting bored of The Sims 4. And then their last question is, what has been your favorite show lately? So I really enjoy watching The Challenge. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of a competitive game show where all of these young adults live in a house together and they don't have any phones or connections to the outside world. So there are a lot of fights that happen and a lot of drinking is involved, so it gets really messy. But basically the gist of it is they have to go head to head in these very physical competitions where the loser has to go home and then the winner will get to go on and compete for $1 million or whatever the prize is that season. So I think it's really fun, especially because every season people from previous seasons come back, so you get to like know people and start to pick your favorites. It's a really fun show. I would definitely recommend it. I think it has a couple of seasons on Netflix. So yeah, thank you so much for your questions. Those were really fun to answer. The next question comes from Yami, and she asked, what is your favorite style to build? So I think my favorite style to build would probably just be classic suburban, because where I live, a lot of those houses are around me, so it's very easy for me to build suburban homes, and also they're just so much fun. Like, you can imagine a family that lives there and decorate for children and different Sims with all these various careers. Well, I guess you can do that for every home, but I just think that suburban homes are really fun, and when I build in certain styles that I'm not 100% familiar with, like say a modern home, I just build the same house over and over again, and none of them look very different from each other, whereas with my suburban homes, I'd like to think that they all look at least a little bit different from each other, if you understand what I mean. So that's definitely my favorite style. I also really love landscaping suburban homes. Thank you so much for your question, Yami. And the next one comes from Rachel S, who asks, do you think you'll ever diversify your content, or will you just stick with speed builds? So I think that eventually I would like to do some Let's Plays. Now, I've heard that Let's Plays are really bad for your channel, like they tend to get a really low watch time. It seems like people don't like them as much as they did in previous years, and really, why would you want to watch a whole 20-part series when you could just watch one video? Like, I think current households would do better than Let's Plays, so I don't know if I want to try that yet, especially when I don't have a big audience, because I do think that it could hurt my channel. but eventually I would like to do a lot of things. Let's plays for The Sims, and then maybe a Minecraft Let's Play, since like SMPs are becoming really popular. I feel like Minecraft has had a huge comeback in the past couple of years, so maybe I'll do that. I am kind of okay at building in that game, but yeah, I'm not too sure at the moment. That question actually reminded me of when I was like 13 or 14, I made a couple of videos playing Roblox and just trolling on that game and playing the various mini games, and it was really fun to make and edit, so I might also do that because I've seen some people who are subscribed to me also subscribe to people who do that, so I don't know. I just plan on sticking to speed builds for now, but I'm definitely keeping an open mind, and really anything could happen in the future. So thank you so much, Rachel, for your question. I really appreciate you. And the next couple of questions come from Alex M. So her first question is, if you had to remove one expansion pack, one game pack, and one stuff pack from your game, what would you choose? Okay, this is gonna be really hard. I have to think about it. So I don't have all the packs, so I'm just gonna stick to the packs that I have. For stuff packs, I would remove Tiny Living because I only have Movie Hangout, Laundry Day, Tiny Living, and then the Paranormal stuff pack. I don't think I'm missing any, and I really like all of those, but I don't really use Laundry Day that much. I love the Create a Sim, but recently I haven't been using the Build Buy items, so I would take that one out of my game. And then for game packs, I would say Realm of Magic. I don't really care for the build buy, and the gameplay just isn't my thing, so that one was pretty easy for me. I don't like the occults, I don't ever play with them. And then expansion pack that I would remove. I don't mean to offend anyone here because I know that this is so many people's favorite pack, but I don't like Island Living. I never play in Sulani. I rarely build in Sulani. I think it's honestly pretty difficult to build there, so that's a me problem. It's a gorgeous world, but at the same time, the lot placement is really odd in my opinion. I just don't think that it's a super well done pack, and I like all the other expansion packs way more. So those are my three. It was a very hard decision to make because I like all of the packs that I own, but yeah, I think Island Living, it's not very good. Realm of Magic, not my thing. And then what did I say? Laundry Day? It's just the worst pack that I have, the worst stuff pack at least. I still think it's really cute and I would honestly recommend it to anybody. But yeah, I thought that was a really fun question to answer. And then Alex's next question is, would you ever do a shell challenge? So I have thought of doing this, but I thought that it would be a little restricting because I don't have all the packs, and I wouldn't want to tell you guys like, hey, you can't use these packs because I don't have them. So I guess to answer your question, I will definitely do one in the future because I think it would be so much fun to like make a prize and then tour you guys' shell challenges. I think it would be amazing to see all of your entries, but not anytime soon. I think I'll wait a little bit for the channel to grow before I actually do one of those. And then Alex's last question was, do you think that you will stop playing The Sims 4 if The Sims 5 comes out? So I thought this question was super interesting because I was trying to think back to when The Sims 4 first came out, and if people stopped playing The Sims 3 right away and went to The Sims 4. I can't remember because I was like 11 at that point, but I think most people stopped playing The Sims 3 and started playing The Sims 4, and I can definitely see myself getting caught up in the hype train and wanting to play The Sims 5 and seeing what it has to offer. But I don't know how much enjoyment I will get from the Sims 5 base game alone. So when I started watching people play The Sims 4, I wasn't actually playing The Sims 4 at that time, but I remember finding the base game so boring, and I didn't even want to buy it because I just found it so boring and shallow, and I can kind of see the same thing happening for The Sims 5. So maybe I would play it a little bit, but once more and more packs came out, I would switch fully to The Sims 5. I'm not sure, I would actually have to think about that. But thank you so much, Alex, for your questions. The next question comes from Just Plays Sims, who asks, how long have you been playing The Sims or video games in general? I think my first video game I ever played was like a school video game for learning when I was like 4 or 5, but that doesn't really count. I got a Wii when I was 6 maybe, and I started playing a lot of games on there. There's a game called We Go Vacation that I was so obsessed with when I was younger. And then I started playing The Sims in 2019, so I'm very late to the game compared to everybody else. I know a lot of people who have been playing since before I was born. The next question is from Abigail, who asked a similar question to Yami. What's your favorite type of house to build in? I already said suburban homes, but I also really love mid-century modern homes now that I think about it, and building homes that are inspired by the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So I would say that that's my second answer. And then DC Simosity asked, what are your favorite items to build with in The Sims 4? So I definitely have a couple of go-to things like the cats and dogs sofa, and then a massive item for me that I use in almost every single one of my builds is the Jungle Adventure plant, like the corner plant. I just love it so much. I think Jungle Adventure is a really good pack for build mode. So those are my two favorites. I use them all the time. The next question comes from Laura, who asked, have you done YouTube before this channel? If so, for how long? So I had 2 channels before this one. So when I was like 11 or 12, I had this is very cringy, but I had a YouTube channel where I would make American Girl doll stop motions. Maybe some of you will be familiar with them. They were a huge part of my childhood. So I made a couple of those. And then I had my other channel called Beely, which is still a channel that I'm active on, and I just did whatever I wanted to on there. All the videos are private, but I made music videos, I made Sims videos, I made vlogs, commentary stuff. I just went crazy on that channel. The next question is from Carl Miller, who, by the way, is super lovely. Thank you for your comments, you're always so sweet. But they asked, have you thought about creating your own game or even a pack for The Sims, and if so, what would it be? So when I was a kid, I loved to design video games. I didn't actually get into coding really that much. I did a little bit, and I'm actually taking a coding class this year. But when I was a kid, I would like write down all these storylines and art for different video games that I wanted to create. I still remember the name of one of them, but I'm not going to say it because it was really weird. But it was kind of a fantasy Harvest Moon type game, if you're familiar with that. So I wanted to make that at one point in my life. I don't have the skills for it now. And then if I had to make a Sims pack, I think I would make something maybe medieval or more about farming and animals, since I think we need some more animals in The Sims. Dana asked, and I hope I'm saying your name right, your name is Dana A.N. They asked, when did you start YouTube? I started this channel in December, but I started making videos for the first time ever in 2014. I think it's definitely been a long time. And then their next question is, do you have a subscriber goal? So I don't. I would just like to get as many as possible. The sky's the limit in my opinion. I mean, we've already gotten this far and I don't know how that happened at all. So really, in my mind, the sky is the limit. And then finally, the last question that I will be answering was from a couple of people. I know Dana asked it, and I know Robo Brian asked it as well. You guys asked what my favorite expansion pack is, what my favorite game pack is, and what my favorite stuff pack is. So my favorite expansion is City Living. My favorite game pack would probably be Parenthood, although I do really love Jungle Adventure. And then my favorite stuff pack is Nifty Knitting. I just think it's a perfect stuff pack. Anyways guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up here. I really hope that you enjoyed not only this Q&A, because I had so much fun with it, but this build as well. Again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, a like would be very appreciated, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye!